Welcome back to our channel. Imagine finding a simple 2007, 2008, or even 2013 $quarter in your change worth just 25 cents, right? But what if I told you some of these coins have rare mint errors that could make them worth thousands? These everyday quarters hide jaw-dropping secrets only the sharpest collectors know about. Want to uncover what to look for before it slips through your hands forever? Hit that like button and subscribe. You won't believe what's hidden in your pocket change. Let's start with 2007. It was the summer of 2007 when the United States Mint released the Wyoming State Quarter as part of its ongoing 50 State Quarters program. The coin was meant to embody the rugged independence and deep frontier legacy of the Equality State. Bearing the image of a bucking bronco and ride an unmistakable symbol of Wyoming's cowboy heritage, the design was bold and simple, etched with the phrase, "The Equality State," beneath a powerful silhouette. Struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, the quarter was expected to circulate widely, like its predecessors, with tens of millions minted. And yet, in this sea of mass production, something quietly slipped through. The machinery that struck these quarters had been in operation for years, its rhythm familiar to seasoned operators. Day after day, blank planchets fed into the presses, coming out adorned with state pride. But hidden in that routine was a small deviation and imperfection so minute it escaped initial detection. Minting errors happen. Die cracks, off-centers, double strikes. They're cataloged and documented, often dismissed as anomalies. But not this one. This error wouldn't be noticed until it had already passed through vending machines, pocket change, cash registers, only to end up in the hands of someone whose eyes were trained not to glance, but to study. At a dimly lit kitchen table in rural Nebraska, a middle-aged coin collector named Elliot sandwiched his latest finds between magnifying glass and lamp. He wasn't searching for treasure. Not exactly. Elliot had done this for years, scrutinizing Roosevelt dimes, Jefferson nickels, and state quarters. He loved the details, the font of the year, the polish of the surface, the texture of the reeded edge. But this night, as he laid the 2007 Wyoming quarter flat beneath his lens, he paused. Something was off. He tilted the coin gently, the bronco and rider flashing under the light. That's when he noticed it. A strange doubling around the horse's leg. Not the kind of doubling you'd expect from a common mechanical issue either. The outline wavered, like a ghost limb clinging to the edge of visibility. It wasn't dramatic, yet it was unmistakable. As Elliot flipped the coin over, examining the obverse, he was stunned. The same faint echo appeared on the word, Liberty. His heart quickened, not with certainty, but with curiosity, the beginning of a chase. Elliot wasn't a wealthy man, but he was meticulous. He began cross-referencing error guides, old auction results, and online forums. Some dismissed his findings outright. Others offered vague encouragement. Then a message arrived from a collector in Oregon who had seen something similar, another 2007 Wyoming quarter with doubling not on the devices, but on the design itself. A coincidence? Elliot didn't think so. What had first seemed like an anomaly now began to take on the shape of a pattern. He traveled, modestly, to a coin show in Denver. There, armed with a small velvet case and a head full of caution, Elliot showed the quarter to a dealer with decades under his belt. The dealer held it, peered at it through his loupe, and didn't speak for a long time. When he finally set it down, he only said, "You might want to hold on to that." News travels differently in collector circles. It's not shouted, it trickles. Quietly, cautiously. A few months passed, and Elliot's coin became a topic of whispers. Error collectors began sifting through bank rolls of Wyoming quarters, eyes peeled. A few more surfaced. Not many. Just enough to confirm a theory. The doubling wasn't from a traditional double die. It was die deterioration doubling, some said. Others argued it was hub doubling, a rarer, more valuable variant. Still others believed it was a misaligned die strike combined with late-stage die wear, producing a phantom doubling effect. As debate grew, so did interest. The value of the coin was no longer anchored to its silver-less, copper-nickel core. It was rising, floating on speculation and scarcity. An early offer of $75 was made to Elliot. He declined. Then $300. Still no. Forums began documenting sightings. 5 coins in total confirmed, then 7. Each slightly different, each with the same mysterious visual tremor around the Bronco. By late 2008, one sold quietly for $850. The numismatic world began to lean in. By 2011, the narrative had changed. It wasn't about if the coin had an error. It was about how rare that error was. Theories evolved. Some said a small batch of coins had been struck from a degraded die at the Denver Mint only for a single day. Others speculated a die had been accidentally overhubbed during production, creating a misalignment in detail that only revealed itself through subtle shifts. Either way, only a tiny handful of coins exhibited the full doubling effect. And in coin collecting, scarcity breeds demand. The error transformed. It no longer lived in the shadow of more famous mistakes like the 1955 double die Lincoln cent or the 2004 Wisconsin extra leaf quarter. It had become its own legend, quiet, regional, and strange. The 2007 Wyoming era quarter developed a name among collectors. The Phantom Rider. A poetic moniker, perhaps, but fitting. Because the ghostly quality of the doubling gave the rider a disjointed, otherworldly appearance. Like the Bronco bucked with 2 riders, one corporeal, one spectral, riding in parallel, Elliot kept his. Not for profit, but for legacy. He'd mounted it in a small glass display above his workbench. But others began appearing in auctions, first under the radar, then more boldly. One example, still in near-mint condition, crossed the block at $2,100 in 2015. A second, in slightly lower grade but with more dramatic doubling, shocked even seasoned dealers when it fetched $3,250 at a regional auction in 2017. The demand had grown beyond traditional collectors. Even investors were taking note. But then, in late 2018, a twist arrived, one that no one anticipated. A collector in Tulsa posted high-resolution scans of what he claimed was a never-before-seen variation of the Wyoming quarter error. Unlike the previous examples, this coin displayed doubling on both sides of the coin, the obverse and reverse, with distinct shifts not only on the horse's legs, but along the rim itself. Furthermore, the mint mark appeared slightly distorted, almost slurred in shape. At first, the post was dismissed. Photoshop, people said. Misleading lighting. But third-party graders confirmed its authenticity. The coin had been struck with a misaligned die pair, both obverse and reverse, during a transitional phase at the mint when older dies were being phased out. The timing? Late summer 2007. The coin? A one-day run, possibly less. The distortion wasn't just mechanical, it was historical. Something had gone wrong that day, perhaps a rushed repair, a miscommunication between die setters, or simple fatigue during a long shift. No records existed to explain it, only the coin itself. This new variation, dubbed the Double Echo Rider, was unlike anything seen before. It wasn't just an error. It was a relic of process, of machinery gone slightly rogue. The coin sold quietly at a private event for a sum that collectors could only guess at. Some said $5,000, others much more. The buyer remained anonymous, and still the Wyoming quarter continued its silent spread. Most people spend them without thought. They drop into parking meters, lay forgotten in dresser drawers, jingle at the bottom of purses. But for those who know what to look for, those who tilt the coin just so, under the right light, at the right angle, a glimpse of the Phantom Rider might just flicker into view. There are now believed to be fewer than 15 verified error specimens in circulation, most traced to the Denver Mint batch, and all exhibiting slightly different characteristics. No two are identical. Some show stronger doubling in the tail of the Bronco. Others display a shift in the lettering, particularly around equality. But the common thread remains: the strange doubling that gives the image life, motion, and mystery. The story doesn't end with the error itself. Collectors have begun searching for die pairs, trying to link which obverse errors belong to which reverse defects. A few believe the combination may lead to the discovery of a master die mismatch, a production mistake never formally acknowledged by the mint, but hidden in the evidence of these flawed coins. If proven, it would change not only the coin's value but its place in numismatic history. Today, the value of the 2007 Wyoming-era quarter continues to evolve. It's no longer confined to catalogs or hobbyist circles. It appears in YouTube deep dives, auction house previews, and even academic discussions of minting anomalies. Its price, once in the double digits, has crossed into four-figure territory tentatively but consistently. Offers now reach $4,000 for well-preserved examples. Yet most owners, like Elliot, choose to hold. Because for them, it's not about the price tag. It's about the thrill of the unknown, the idea that a piece of American history, a mistake forged in machinery and time, rests in the palm of their hand. And somewhere, even now, in a roll of coins from a sleepy bank in Wyoming or a forgotten piggy bank in Kansas, another phantom rider waits, unnoticed, ready to ride again. It was 2008 when the Oklahoma State Quarter, the 46th in the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, found its way into circulation, bearing the scissor-tailed flycatcher in mid-flight above Indian blanket wildflowers. Struck at both Philadelphia and Denver, hundreds of millions were released into everyday use, often lost in the shuffle of soda machines and parking meters. Yet, amid the uniformity of mass production, something unexpected crept into one seemingly ordinary coin, something that would alter its destiny forever. That year, the minting presses hummed with routine precision. Blanks were annealed, struck, and stacked. Workers rotated between die installations, carefully aligning hubs and collars. In this environment, errors were rare, but not impossible. One machine operator later admitted to a brief misalignment during a shift change, a fleeting moment when dies were swapped too hastily. No one noted anything unusual at the time. But somewhere in that stream of coins, a single die began producing impressed shadows, doubled lines in the flycatcher's wings, and faint ripples across the blanket flowers. Without knowing it, an artifact of process had begun. In North Texas, a collector named Marcus Reynolds sifted through rolls of quarters one evening, testing a new loop lens under a desk lamp. He sorted out silvers and damaged pieces, tracking nothing more remarkable than a 1964 D. Roosevelt dime. Then, near the box's end, a 2008 Oklahoma quarter caught his eye. At first glance it looked normal, but when he tilted it under the light, something caught his attention, a soft echo of the bird's wing, like a second layer imprinted too faintly to notice at first. He flipped it. The petals of the Indian blanket flower appeared to shimmer. The lettering around E pluribus unum seemed subtly blurred. His pulse quickened. He placed it beside a reference coin and viewed them in tandem. The doubling was genuine, not wear, not strike-through grease, but true doubling. A double die error. He sat in silence for a minute, turning the coin over and over. Part thrill, part disbelief. He didn't post a picture immediately. He slept on it, afraid it was a mistake. But next day, he submitted it for certification, naming it provisionally FXXXX Oklahoma Double Die Reverse. Meanwhile, news of a missing clad layer quarter from a Denver roll emerged, its copper core exposed in one small patch. A dealer bought it for $950, resold it for $100. Another coin surfaced with a die crack running through the flycatcher's legs, prompting silent auctions between collectors. These imperfections fed Marcus's hope that his coin might belong to something larger, a hidden narrative of minting anomalies. In 2008, weeks later, his coin returned graded MS64, with certified doubling and minimal bag marks. It was modestly uncirculated, but more importantly, it was rare. He quietly listed it on a well-respected auction forum. Bids trickled in. At first, low $300. His expectations were cautious. Then, as word spread among error coin circles, offers climbed. $500, $700. Over the next 2 years. For more similar Oklahoma quarters appeared, each showing wing doubling, slight variations in stem alignment, and unique die abrasions. Collectors began referring to these as the Sooner Shadow variety. The discovered batch seemed small, maybe fewer than 10 total. Each coin carried subtle differences. One had doubling that almost ghosted into the wildflower petal. Another had faint rim cuts along the rim. They were near cousins, each telling a micro-story of die imperfection, and each feeding the scarcity that crafts value. By 2011, Marcus's coin had reached $1,200 in a private sale to a collector who wanted to build a full set of state quarter errors. The sale confirmed that this wasn't fleeting hype, it was a budding market. In surfacing these anomalies, collectors had created demand where none existed before. Then, in 2014, an unexpected twist. A Pennsylvania collector posted a coin with not only reversal doubling but also a slight rotation of the entire design, nearly 15 degrees off-center. Graded MS65, it showed a rotated die paired with a doubled image, an even rarer combination. A bidding war broke out, and when the hammer fell, the coin sold for $3,500. That bronze surge got coin forums buzzing. Could there be more? Collector researchers reviewed mint records, knowing Philadelphia and Denver production volumes, but lacking die maintenance logs. They pored over leftover minting press records and shift schedules, seeking evidence, and only found notes of routine maintenance in early May 2008, when the OS-19 reverse die was swapped. No alert was raised, but the timing aligned eerily with Marcus's coin. It too was dated May 2008. Meanwhile, coins from Denver with missing clad spots sold for $1,900. Another example with die crack and minor doubling fetched $2,300. The complexity of these errors suggested that the Pennsylvania rotated double was not just unique, it was the mechanical apex of a flawed die. In 2017, at a small Central Kansas show, a dealer exhibited a quarter with die break haloing around the flycatcher's head and minor bag luster subtle, but undeniable. He described it as the Halo Flight. It sold for $2,000 in a private deal, mostly for research rather than resale. This variety was added to error registries, cross-referenced with Marcus's and the Pennsylvania examples. Now there were distinct categories: standard double die reverse, rotated double, missing clad, halo die break, edge CUD. By 2020, collectors categorized the types and circulated diagnostic photos. Inspect the wing tips, look for doubling in petals, check rim edge, test for rotation. Examine E pluribus unum for distortions. They warned not to mistake surface, where for doubling only true die-impressed echoes counted. With demand confirmed, prices solidified. Grade MS65 doubled dies, ordinarily sold for $1,800 to $2,200. Rotated double die variants hovered around $3,500 to $4,500. Halo die break coins went for nearly $2,600. Coins combining doubling with missing clad layers fetched up to $5,000 at private sale. Marcus expanded his collection, tracking each variant type and building an error narrative across 4 coins. He collaborated with a numismatic researcher who speculated that the OS-19 die used at Denver may have been used after an imperfect hubbing procedure causing both doubling and clad inconsistencies. Their research got attention in small numismatic periodicals, highlighting the coin's minting quirks. In 2022, yet another twist. A collector revealed a 2008 version of the Oklahoma quarter not Denver showing minimal doubling and evidence of hub doubling on the obverse Liberty. The coin was an anomaly, A verse hub doubling was previously undocumented. It sold at auction for $2,750, confirming that both mints had produced errors. The net was wider than once thought. By 2024, the total number of confirmed error coins across all variants still remained under 30. Rarity was established. Condition: whether MS64 or MS67 directly affected value. A pristine MS67 rotated double die sold quietly for $6,200. The Halo die break MS66 fetched $3,100. The missing clad with doubling MS65 reached $4,800. Marcus continued to monitor auctions, his original MS64 Sooner Shadow still in his collection, treasured for its historical weight. Most of its counterparts scattered in private collections or museums. Forums showed interest leveling off, but values remained solid evidence that an ordinary coin could be transformed by error into a crown jewel. Most 2008 Oklahoma quarters remain in circulation. But for collectors, just one might hold the key to discovery. Someone might find a doubling too faint to notice, a rim misalignment, or a chip that ghosted around the flower stems. A casual glance won't catch it, but those trained eyes, the thrill of discovery, the moment of realization, these turn a coin into an artifact. As 2025 unfolds, market prices for certified error Oklahoma quarters settle in predictable tiers. Basic double die reverse in MS64, MS65 condition sells for around $2,200. Rotated die plus doubling in MS65, MS66 ranges from $3,500 to $4,500. Variants combining doubling with missing clad or die breaks reach $5,000 to $6,000 depending on grade. The rarest, the unique rotated double die ranked MS67 remains unmatched, held privately, and arguably worth between $6,000 and $7,500 if ever sold. What began with a single flicker of shadow under a light has become research, reputation, and real value. Each coin is more than copper and nickel. It is process and mistake immortalized, a moment when machinery misstepped and in that step created something extraordinary. Today, prices *MS64, MS65 double die reverse coins approximate $200 rotated die plus doubling in MS65, MS66 $3, $500, $4, $500 combined error variants with doubling die break missing clad in MS66, MS67 $5, $000, $6, $000, and the most dramatic, the unique rotated die MS67 example, valued at $6, $000 to $7,500. It was early 2013 when the Mount Rushmore quarter quietly rolled into circulation, a tribute in the America the Beautiful Quarter series, commemorating the monumental carving of Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln in South Dakota's Black Hills. The 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter carried a sense of grandeur in its design. Struck at Philadelphia and Denver, millions were minted, intended for everyday use, but also destined to remind Americans of their shared history. Yet among these common coins, a small set held something more, a silent marker of human and machine fallibility that would turn one collector's casual find into a lasting legend. In the spring of that year, presses at both mints hummed along, planchets fed in, dies struck, coins ejected. Detours in the process occurred rarely, but no system is flawless. During one afternoon shift in Denver, a mint operator later confessed, a die seat had been unsettled, causing a subtle angle mismatch. No alarm sounded, no records detailed the event. Within that fraction of time, a handful of Mount Rushmore coins left the mint with something different etched into them, faint doubling of facial features, especially around Jefferson's cheek and Roosevelt's glasses, and slight misalignments in the granite ridges. Invisible at first glance, these anomalies waited in treasure chests of pocket change. In rural Wyoming, Coin collector Emma Carter flipped one of these quarters under her loupe while sorting through change. She paused. The faces seemed to shimmer, as though lit from two slightly separate origins. She pulled the coin closer to the light. There it was, a ghostly echo in Washington's jawline, subtle but unmistakable. The rock backgrounds weren't sharp. Roosevelt's mustache looked layered. Her heart beat faster, a mix of disbelief and excitement. She had never seen this in any reference. It wasn't wear or postment damage. It was a double die error. Emma didn't post in online groups right away. She wanted confirmation. She compared her coin to standard Mount Rushmore quarters. The doubling persisted, the misalignment subtle but precise. Feeling determined, she sent it for grading, anticipating a normal confirmation. Weeks later, the slab arrived back labeled Mount Rushmore Quarter 2013 D Double Die Obverse, designation FS 2013.01, graded MS65. It was official. Her coin was rare. Meanwhile, other anomalies were surfacing: a mint-proof Philadelphia strike with a D over P mint mark error, a misaligned die with the date off-center, and an unusual clad strike-through revealing a copper flash along the edge. None matched Emma's find, but each hinted that the 2013 Mount Rushmore quarter may have been more error-prone than previously thought. As competition grew, private sales began. Emma's coin quietly sold to a private collector later that year for about $1.50, a number that surprised her, but not him. He recognized the significance. Few had documented double-die Mount Rushmore quarters. In 2014, two more appeared, one from a Pennsylvania collector showing reverse doubling, images flipped horizontally, and another with both obverse and reverse minor doubling. Each sold for about $1, $800 and $200 respectively, confirming that Emma's original discovery was part of a hidden pattern. Collectors began tracking production data. They linked these errors to a die marking used only in late March 2013 at the Denver Mint. Records indicated a hubbing session that day producing a batch of dies, one of which required repolishing and restressing. It was believed a slight misalignment occurred in that process, and both obverse and reverse dies received it. Few coins were struck before the die was rotated and reset, but enough to create the ghosted mini-batch. By 2015, the term twin granite had emerged among collectors, a nod to the duplicated faces in Mount Rushmore. Listings in numismatic catalogs cited the double die obverse variant in MS63, MS65 grades, priced at $1,200 to $1,800. A rare obverse plus reverse doubling coin sold for $2,400. A Philadelphia D/P mint mark proof error sold for $2,000. Then came a surprise twist in 2016. A Florida collector inherited a roll of uncirculated Mount Rushmore quarters and discovered an off-center strike that misaligned the mountain peaks by nearly 15%. Graded MS66, the off-center coin also exhibited slight doubling of Roosevelt's eyeglasses. Auctions put it at $3,500, drawing attention back to the variety of errors present in the 2013 issue. After that, the valuations of each error type diverged. Double die obverse coins graded MS65 or lower sold between $1,500 and $2,000. Examples with matched and certifiable reverse doubling commanded between $2,500 and $3,200 based on quality. The off-center plus double die MS66 examples hovered in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, depending on eye appeal and slab notes. Mint mark anomalies, like the D over P proof, peaked at $3,000. By 2018, collectors had documented fewer than 20 confirmed double die obverse coins, under 10 with both side doubling, maybe 3 off-center variants, and a couple dozen mint mark anomalies. Each found its way into registries and error guides. The market matured. Eagle-eyed collectors searched rolls, banks, and coin bins. Dealers invested in slab examples. Auction catalogs highlighted eye appeal and provenance. Emma, meanwhile, had reinvested. She located an MS-66 double-die obverse coin in 2017 and partnered with another collector to publish a research article explaining hub misalignment and dating error coins. Their paper included microscopic die stress analysis, showing hairline die cracks around Lincoln and Roosevelt, and explaining how doubled elements occurred. Their article appeared in a numismatic quarterly, elevating the profile of these errors. Suddenly, prices spiked. MS-65 double-die obverse coins rose to $2,300, MS-66 to $3,800. In 2020, Emma's team announced a new discovery, a mint error where the E pluribus unum inscription showed both doubling and rotation, tied to the same March 2013 batch. An MS-67 variant sold for $6,200 at auction. It was the most dramatic example found at Collector's Trophy. Research also uncovered the link between the double die obverse and an associated reverse twin dubbed reverse granite twin, a coin with matching rare doubling on the reverse rock surface. That example, graded MS-66 clean for clarity, sold for $4,500 in late 2021. Collectors began carefully inspecting both sides simultaneously as part of a registry-first approach. By 2022, there was enough documented history to support detailed price tiers * basic double die obverse in MS-65 $2,300 $3,000 * double die obverse in MS-66 $3,500 $4,200 * double die both sides, double twin in MS-66 MS-67 $4,500 $6,500 * off-center double die MS-66 MS-67 $5,000 to $7,000 depending on percent of off-center * mint mark anomalies $3,000 $4,000. Emma's original slab floated through private hands until 2023, when she reacquired it and matched it against a newly discovered MS-66 double die obverse from the same batch. She called it the original twin. Its parallel die characteristics confirm theory: minor die cracks aligning across both coins, the same spacing and doubling around Washington's eye and cheek. In 2024, Emma and her colleague coordinated an exhibit at the South Dakota State Historical Museum. The centerpiece was the original twin and the off-center double. The interest generated renewed search efforts. That same year, 2 more MS-65 double die obverse coins were confirmed in private collections in Minnesota and Colorado. Now 2025 has arrived with firm valuations. Double die obverse coins graded MS-65 MS-66 now sell between $2,500 and $4,000. Both side doubling examples command $4,500 to $6,500. Off-center plus double die MS-67 coins draw $6,000 to $7,500. Mid-mark proof anomalies remain steady at $3,000 $4,500, depending on clarity. Emma's exhibit coin retains deep historical significance and price. Slabbed as the first confirmed Mount Rushmore double die obverse graded MS-65, it is valued at approximately $3,800 today. Less common combinations both side doubling in MS-66 MS-67 might realistically sell between $5,500 and $7,500 depending on slab leaderboards. The single off-center MS-66 example, if traded, would likely fetch near $6,800. All this began with a subtle shimmer and echo of granite faces under light, a doubling so soft it could have been missed without careful observation. Most Mount Rushmore quarters still sleep in pocket change, but for those paying attention, each one might hold remembrance of a moment when minting machines faltered. That moment turned a piece of national remembrance into something both historical and rare, carrying value in copper, nickel, and story.